I have a lot of Star Wars things.
You do? Do you like Star Wars? Where's your lightsaber?
It's invisible.
You have an invisible lightsaber? What's it like to be a tween?
Daddy.
Yeah? It's just attitude all day.
Daddy, I'm cutting you.
What are you cutting? My leg? Oh!
And the other leg.
How am I going to ride my bike with you?
You're not.
Yeah, you didn't think that far ahead, did you? Oh, my arm? Oh. You've been riding for a few years now. How did you get so fast?
I go it up really fast.
Yeah?
Like Tara did.
Oh, you learned it from Tara?
Yes.
You learned
Oh.
anything from me.
They've learned a lot from you, and it's not all good.
What do you mean?
What do we mean, Mommy? So, you like riding your bike, right? Do you want to go ride? Okay, y'all are going to go ride bikes,
Yes.
and we are going to talk about you. Hey guys, Brian and Aaron here from 5 to Go. We're here to talk today about our children. This is kind of spurred on by a discussion on Discord a couple days ago. Did you see that?
I don't know.
So one of the guys on Discord, an Army vet, said something that we hear a lot.
Sorry if I'm a little distracted. I am watching the kids while we're recording. So
Yeah, we've got like we've got 360 coverage.
Yeah.
I can see that way, she can see this way. So we hear this sentiment a lot, where it's people with children that are like, I would love to do full timing, but what about the kids? What about school? What about the kids' friends?
socialization, getting out there doing
and
kid
all
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
So I kind of went. It wasn't a rant, but it was a mini novel that I wrote, and it's on Discord. If you go to our Discord channel and just search back, I think it was maybe January 7th or 8th.
Okay.
I've lost track of days. We do hear that sentiment a lot. We hear it from friends. We hear it from family. We hear it from just random strangers. We hear it from retired people that said, looking back on things, they wish they had done it with their kids, but they were afraid of
all of those things that everybody is afraid of. And we were afraid of them too before we left.
I think our children have way more friends now
Than they ever did when we lived in the house.
than they ever could have had if we had just stayed stationary for the last 3 years.
Yeah. Now, we're still in touch with our bestest of friends, and our kids still talk to them, especially Tara still talks to her friends from where we lived before, because she did have some that are lifelong friends.
Yeah, I think there's a disconnect, because people our age, we were born in the early 80s. If we had been part of a full-time family, we wouldn't have been able to keep in touch with our friends back home.
No.
It would have been like long-distance phone calls that cost a lot of money.
Right.
And no video chat. You know, we didn't have those things. So I think in our brains, we're like, oh, if we couldn't see our friends every day at school,
then we wouldn't be able
we
to
wouldn't
see
have a
anybody.
relationship with those people.
It's just not true.
It's not the...
When I walked over, he said, I'm okay. Oh, did his chain come off?
All right, I guess it's time to repair a bike. Well, we got sidetracked a little bit.
A little bit. We have friends that are camping nearby, and there's just
so-
lots of things going on
Yep,
today.
had to fix Ben's bike and then lunch, and now we're here.
Yeah.
So we were talking about friends with all of the technologies we have now, with FaceTime and online video games, and it's so easy for our kids to stay in touch, and for all of us to stay in touch with all of our friends and family back home. It was a concern when we started, but it was very quickly squashed.
Yeah.
Like it rapidly became a non-issue. Everyone was talking to everybody. We're doing these videos, so people are seeing into our lives on a regular basis anyway. But like the friends and family back home, we were all the time doing FaceTime, and we weren't home for birthdays and stuff like that, but we got to spend birthdays with other people and with new people
in really cool places.
Yeah, and then it's also been really great because all the people we meet along the way, we're able to easily stay in touch with all of them. We're able to do video chats and do meetups. And when we left at the end of 2017, and in 18 months, we hit all lower 48 states. Yeah. Like we were cruising. We were all over the place. It was
going fast.
18,000 miles towed, and probably double that on the trucks that we had. So lots and lots and lots of travel, met all sorts of people. And like I've said in previous videos, one of my favorite things about RVing is the community. It's meeting people, making new friends, and you just,
meeting lots of you.
without getting out there and going, we wouldn't know 60% of the people we do now.
Yeah, well, and it's been really neat to kind of see them remember the amazing places that we've been and the different regions of the country that we've been in, and then they can relate that to their own lives and make connections and you know, it's been really nice.
Yeah, because actually one of the things we did while we were driving around, you were homeschooling Tara. Brooke was not kindergarten yet.
She was 4.
Yeah, she was 4, and then Ben was 20 months when we left, so he wasn't in school at all. So you were doing some stuff with Brooke. Tara was halfway through third grade.
Halfway through third grade, and then all of 4th grade.
Yeah. So as we were traveling around, part of the lessons you set for her were
based on the region,
based on where we were going to be. So I know there is a thing called Roadschooling, which is a lot more in that direction, but you kind of blended that in a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of the supplemental readings and stuff that she was doing that I was kind of curating for her were based on, oh, we're going to be at the Grand Canyon this week, or we're going to go to Seattle, or we're going to be in the Great Plains. And so the types of things that I'd have her read and do activities on were based on that. And we would always do the Junior Ranger activities at the national parks and monuments that we went to, because then that was just another layer of how to connect all of that to what we were seeing and doing, and to kind of remember where we were each time too.
And we all benefited from that.
Oh yeah. Even if you don't have children, you can always pick up a Junior Ranger packet from the national parks. You don't have to have kids to get it. And it kind of walks you through the visitor center, making sure that you see all of the important parts of it. And then once you get out like on the trails or on whatever type of thing that you're going to see there, there's always things that you can do. And like they always ask you to join in on a ranger-led talk, or different activities that you can find out about availability with the Junior Ranger program. You don't have to have kids to do
I loved the one at Yellowstone because one of them was attend a ranger-led talk, and it ended up being an awesome one near, I think it was Steamboat Geyser. That's the big one, right? It was a talk where the ranger had like bear skins out and all these skulls and parts of animals and all that, and we all learned a whole ton about the stuff that lives out there.
Well, and at the Devil's Tower, we went to one at night because we were camping there, and they did one at night, and they were pointing out the people who were night climbing the side of the
see their headlamps.
tower. Yeah, you could see their headlamps going on, and I wouldn't have never known what that was if we hadn't gone to that talk. So it was neat.
And that
they were
one
talking
was
about the stars.
That one was about stars and constellations with like the native people of that land, and some of their stories about creation and mythology and death and all that. It was
fantastic.
It was amazing. I really enjoyed learning local stuff.
Yeah, it was amazing
from the national parks,
because we went to the Aztec ruins that are in northern New Mexico.
Yeah,
and just how old that stuff was.
Yeah, and
then that civilization just kind of
disappeared,
and they weren't really Aztec ruins. That's just what they called them because
it was a misnomer.
But anyway, that was just a really cool national monument, and the history was so much older than I had an understanding of for the Americas, that it was just like, what?
Yeah, and if the only way I think you would come across that in sedentary life in coastal Virginia would be falling down a Wikipedia hole.
Right, absolutely.
Where you're just clicking from one thing to another to another to another. You're like, oh, that's cool.
Right.
We actually got to, that's how we discovered things as we were traveling.
Right.
And that's how the kids learned.
Because they weren't just reading about it in a book or watching a movie about it. They could walk through it. They could touch it. They could feel it. They could know what it looked like in the surrounding areas. And so even Ben and Brooke being much younger, they have a recollection of it. And if we show them the videos that we made at those places, they can be like, oh my goodness, I was there. You know, so...
Yeah, and then there was, the Bandelier National Monument, they still had...
Love it.
It was like cliff dwellings, basically, and they had ladders, and you could climb up the ladders into the cliff dwellings, and the kids absolutely loved that.
What child wouldn't love to climb the cave dwelling?
It's like stealth teaching, right?
Yeah, right.
It's such a cool experience, but you are learning stuff while you're there. So that's invaluable. I mean, it really just... I wish I had traveled more as a kid, and I absolutely love that we're getting to see those sorts of things as relatively young adults.
And, you know, Kara being our oldest, she's going to remember much more of this than the littles did, like firsthand kind of stuff. When she, you know, is in college or in later high school and people are like, you know, tell us something interesting about yourself, she can say, I went on a trip around the country with my family and saw all of the things that, you know, you've only read about. And so it just adds another layer of not interest to your kids, but like it makes your people, it makes your children more interesting people. You know, they have better understanding.
It's American culture and heritage and history and understanding other peoples and other places, and the door's wide open. Like, it's such a great exposure to everything.
Go travel, take your kids.
Yeah.
And you can make it work.
Yeah.
You can make it work. If you're worried about homeschooling your kids, if they're coming from public school, there are so many homeschooling curriculums that lay everything out for you, whether you want it to be a Christian-based homeschooling program.
There's a lot of those.
There's a lot of those. If you want a more secular, more like public school-based thing, reach out to me. I can help you with those, because that's what I did.
Your state might have a virtual schooling program. I know Florida does.
Yeah, if you want to do virtual schooling, if you're working, from home now that so many of us are able to, and you need internet, you probably will have internet that's good enough to do virtual school. And so your children can just stay with the curriculum that they've known in the school that they've been in. If you want to do road schooling, like Brian was talking about, that's a lot more it's not a fly by the seat of your pants thing. It's more of a, this is where we're going to be, this is how we're going to learn this week, this month. There's also unschooling that you can do, where you kind of let the children lead what they want to learn about.
High school kind of gets into that weird little kind of sacred bubble, right, where everyone has this fond memory of high school, and it's this formative thing, and
but not every child needs that.
Yeah, well, exactly. Obviously, your children are different from ours.
Absolutely.
And from the people out there.
And you and I are very different from what we experienced in high school, and we had the same kind of experience.
Exactly, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she had all of these extra AP classes and all that. Look where I got you.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Right here next to me on the internet. So I think more people would be more likely to do it while their kids are
younger,
pre-high school, because I could definitely see that concern where someone's like, oh, my kid's a junior. I want them to go ahead and just finish and graduate high school. Yeah. Like, if you're that close, it's a year and a half or two.
And if your kids are really involved in team sports.
Sports is a big one, too.
I mean, that's a big consideration, because a lot of, if they want to go to college to play sports, you usually have to play in a team.
Sports,
So, I mean, there's a lot of different things to take into consideration. Again, like Brian said, every child is different. Yeah. How they're going to respond to this is going to be different.
And that's definitely something that you can't really... There's not really a substitute for that, like sports, that side of high school academics. There's not really a substitute, because if you're traveling around, obviously you can't be on a football team or whatever.
Right.
So I think that's a different discussion, and that's one that we
don't really know about, because our oldest is 11 years old.
Yeah, and she was 8 when we started.
She was 8 when we left.
Yeah, so it's much different consideration for us. And one other thing, I know I've told this a couple people in person, our children have been able to meet family that they probably never would have, except maybe at a wedding, or some big like family group event. They've met friends, maybe people that we had talked to online that we had never actually had a chance to meet.
Right.
We've met people like that, and what I like to say is, like, if you only have 1 or 2 weeks of vacation a year, are you going to spend that on going to see
your
cousin Timmy
on
the other side of the country in the middle of nowhere, where
even if they live in the coolest place and they're the most awesome family member, you're going to go somewhere that
you're going to go to
somewhere
Disney
more
World,
familiar, or you're going to go visit grandma, or you're
going to the beach for a week, it's so we've been able to take our kids and introduce
We've seen almost
them to
all of our family.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and that's really neat, because then not only is it neat for the kids, it's great for the family too.
Yeah,
because
they would have never seen them. They see
the kids on Facebook, and
they
see these videos and all that. But they now have been able to spend time with them, see their personalities, and see who you're related to.
And now you have another connection to family, which has been great. And I've also we've met up with quite a few of my friends from high school that live in really neat places around the country that I would never have visited, after 20 years of being out of high school. But we're like, we're friends on Facebook. We're going to be, in the area that you live in. Do you want to get together? And some people were like, yeah, sure, come stay at our house.
Other people are like, that's weird.
Other people are like, we'll meet you for lunch.
Right, yeah, just kind of check you out.
Yeah, right. But, and some of them we've spent the entire time we've been in that area with, and have forged really closer bonds, which has been just wonderful. So if you're on the fence about that kind of stuff, your children. You know
ultimately,
how they're going to react.
That's what it comes down to ultimately. But
if there's a little glimmer that you think that this might be fun.
We're making this video to push you off the fence.
Yeah.
Right? To it's worth it. Like,
do it.
Even so, if there are ways, like if you just want to rent your house out for a year and or 6 months just to see if it'll work, you can do that. Like, you can absolutely do that. And if it is like I think we know as many full-timers that kind of dipped their toes in the water and then backed out, and they're back to normal life now, or normal life. And we know as many of them as ones that just jumped all in and have been on the road for
5 years.
5, 6, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
You probably don't know which one you are until you try.
Go.
Like, we didn't know.
We were going to do 6 months. And if we made it out to the West Coast and we were like, we're done, we would have just hightailed it back or gone back to
we were kind of area shopping.
We were area shopping.
So I think 18 months was our initial, because that got through the latter half of that 3rd grade year. Yep. And then it was one more school year. Mm-hmm. And then that was kind of our, like, after the 18 months, do we want to, pull the parachute and bail or keep going? We stayed in the house for Colorado, but after we were there for 3 months, we were like, we gotta go back. Like, it kind of gets in you.
It does. And if it's successful, and by no means is every day a win for full timing, because there are many days where it is difficult to do this lifestyle, and I just dream of living in a house with space and organization that's a little easier.
Space
and
is overrated.
Just not space, just a little bit more space, and just things that are normal. And then the next day I'm like, why would I ever want that? Yeah. Like, I can pick up and go and be in somewhere fantastic whenever we want to. Yeah. And so
and the kids
it is a back and forth.
The kids like it too.
The kids do like it.
They love seeing new stuff.
And if they came to us and they said, this really sucks and I don't ever want to do this again, and they just kept saying it, then Brian and I would take that into consideration, and we would do what we think is best for them and to make sure that they're happy. But they thrive in this.
Yeah.
So
especially the littles, like they meet new people all the time. They get to play with new kids all the time.
They love moving day and going, and even if we're just moving between 2 or 3 different campgrounds, we're always in a different spot. So it's a different experience for them. Like, they have a different road to ride their bikes on. They have different friends to park next to. They, are closer to the playground one day, and then they're closer to something else the next day. So,
and being here in Florida, they can go to the pool in January. I think it's been a win-win all around for us, but it's not necessarily for everybody.
Your kids have to not mind sharing space, because you're
living on top of each other.
Yes, you're with each other all the time, and
but we know people with 10 or more people in their family that do this very successfully and have been doing it for years. Yeah. So if they can do it,
5 of us can do it.
5 of us can do it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that covers a lot.
Yep.
A lot. There's a lot. It's a lot to cover. A
lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions. And if you have any questions, join our Discord server. It's 5togo.com/Discord. Link is right here and in the description down below.
And it's super easy. It's not something that you have to commit to, like, being in. It's free. It's just a chat service that you can just
chat.
It's like a continuous chat between the 800 or so people we have in there. Mm-hmm. You can ask questions. We will answer. Other people will answer. You'll get a ton of information. Yep. We even have a specific one that's called the Family Circle.
Family Circle, yep.
And so it's just the people that want to ask questions about families and people that want to answer questions about family stuff. But
and we have a lot. We have full-time families. We have part-time families. We have families that don't RV at all. We have homeschoolers.
We have some that are asking the same questions you are.
Yeah, we have all sorts of questions, all sorts of different people that can answer all sorts of different questions, because it's not just us. Like I said, we are more experienced with the younger kids. So there are people that are in that group that have high schoolers and some older kids. They would be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Absolutely. So 5togo.com/Discord, totally free. Just jump in, say hey. Ask whatever you need to know.
And if it's not your thing, that's okay too. But just come and check it out.
Yeah. Otherwise, we have a couple things going on. Tampa show is this week. We will be there. Check our Facebook and Instagram accounts to see where we will be when.
Yes.
We will be there on Saturday for sure.
Yes, I will be there on Saturday for sure.
We'll all be there on Saturday. I might be there a little earlier in the week. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
We also have a couple other types of videos coming up soon. I'm gonna start reviewing solo like some gear, like that camera right there. We've added cameras to the rig for a reason, and I'll get into that in a future video. We also have stuff about cell boosters coming up. We've got stuff about internet access coming up. We've got stuff about all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start doing those gear videos kind of in between these bigger episodes. And we're doing a caravan this summer.
We are.
And all of the Roadrunners, which are what we call our patrons on Patreon, they're all invited to come along with us. They'll have the entire route laid out in front of them.
You can come for all 8 weeks. You can come and do 2 weeks with us. You can come do a weekend. You can come hang out and have
For an
some
afternoon.
fajitas with us, you know.
And if you want to see that route, you got to join. We don't want to share all of our plans publicly. It's a little bit of a safety issue.
Absolutely.
So Roadrunners have access to all of that, though, so they can come and go as they please. And we also do live streams and blooper reels and behind the scenes deleted scenes. We're going to be doing some stuff from the Tampa show. Just all sorts of random stuff. We have fun with it, and I think people really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So.
And thank you all so much for your comments last week about whether Brian should shave his beard, if he should keep some of it, or if he should get rid of all of it. Stay tuned to the end of the video so you can see what happens.
So what one?
Which one won?
Yeah. What am I doing?
What I wanted, because everybody sides with me. You're doing the goatee.
Goatee. So just here.
Do the one that has the most facial hair.
Yeah, that's just here.
And then we'll see if there's anything crazy that can happen.
I wouldn't count on that.
Okay.
I'm in the kids' bathroom. That's why this lovely painting by Tara is here next to me. This thing does a good job. It's the Phillips Norelco 1 blade. That's pretty good. It's really lightweight.
See one side. Oh yeah, I think you should just go back to the beard.
Right there.
You wanna see? Look on this side. Doesn't that look good? You like it? Yeah?
I like it long.
Okay. Tara's not taking it.
I don't care. Alrighty, Brookie, come here. What do you think? Do you like it? Come here, kiss on my cheek.
Not that spiky.
Not as spiky?
Just a little bit spiky.
Alrighty. Can you say we'll see you guys in the next episode?
I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye, guys.